Welcome back. You are once again invited to look at this beautiful Talking Technical segment. And today we're going to discuss some of the requests that we sometimes miss out to discuss on a live show, and that's from your Twitter requests, even Facebook, an email drop to us, and maybe a request on Stockwatch, because I realize nowadays that some guys are starting to ask some technical questions on Stockwatch as well. Well, the first question that we had was somebody said, can we please have a look at Naspers? Remember, Naspers is one of those falling angels. That was the stock that helped the index all the way up. But over the last couple of, you can almost say months, it's really struggling. Now, let's first have a look at the weekly chart before we look at the daily chart, because the daily chart is quite interesting. And if you look at this chart, you can see that this is a weekly chart, and I want to draw in the 40-week moving average just to give you guys an idea where the long-term, you can almost say momentum is hiding for us. Let's have a look here. I'm going to put in the 40-week moving average, and the moment we do that, we can see here that the momentum of the stock is to the downside. Look at it. There was the beautiful 40-week moving average, always supporting the stock, but that turned around now, and that is negative. But if we look at this, and I'm seeing a descending channel here, it looked like that Naspers is really struggling to find its feet. But as we know, you've got two options with a descending channel. The one is you're either going to see that that the stock can move lower in this descending channel. So every time that it bounces against this resistance line, it just lose momentum and come back to the support line. Or eventually, if the stock really wants to recover, it eventually breaks this resistance line and gives us a wonderful rally to the top. In actual fact, I think there's many investors that would love to see that, because I know of some guys that bought the stock around this 3,500, 3,800 Rand level, and they were quite convinced that the stock can go much higher. But the stock disappointed. And I was always worried about this 40-week moving average that turned around. But look what we see here. We see a descending channel. And the big thing now is, if the stock can break below this 2,440 Rand level, then it will be negative, because then actually it breaks below the support line. And if you can maybe recall a few sessions back, I said that if Naspers really gets under pressure, it can easily go to 1,900 Rand. Now, where did I get that level from? There you are. There's the level. This is the, you can almost say, a pivot line. Let's just draw it in here. Then you guys can see where I'm getting that line. Now, there's the level. I just want to draw it in. There you are. Okay. Now you can see that is, first of all, a resistance line. Then it turned to become a support. Then it remained a support. It bounced off here. And I say if it goes down all the way, it will probably land up close to 1,900 Rand. And that will be to meet up with this line. But that is, in essence, it is negative. But let's have a look at a daily chart. Now let's have a look. If you look at this chart, I mean, Naspers came out with some wonderful results yesterday. It surprised everyone. It was better than everybody was expecting. And I really hope that I'm right here, because some guys are so disappointed in this market. They say, will we ever see a Christmas rally again? Well, I've got news for you. We had about 10 years of Christmas rallies, and the first year that it wants to disappoint everybody is negative. But what I see here is, within that descending channel that we've got on the weekly chart, I'm seeing here that we've got an inverse head and shoulder. There you are. There's the left shoulder. There's the head. And I think we're busy working on the right shoulder. In actual fact, I was hoping that we can close this gap, because then all the uncertainty was, you can almost say, cleared out. But at the moment, I'm seeing this left shoulder. I see the head. I'm starting to see the start of the right shoulder, but it's early days. And the neckline is waiting at, excuse me, 2,930 Rand. If it can go above 2,930 Rand, we can see Naspers reach for two targets. The one will be, let's just draw this line in from there, and we extend it. That's the conservative target. And the full target, if it really plays out this inverse head and shoulder, and I really hope for a lot of investors it does. It can take the share to that. Okay, now that's the conservative target, will be 3,112 Rand. And can you believe it? The full target of this inverse head and shoulder will actually take the share back to 3,300 Rand. But I'm eyeing this little gap here. Maybe we will be lucky to close this gap. That opens at around 3,332, and it closes at, and there's your level, 3,351 Rand. So that's the bottom line of Naspers. Naspers is stuck in a descending channel on the long-term chart. But if that support, and that's the support that I'm talking about, if that support is a true support and it can bounce, it can maybe take us back to that resistance line. And that is my initial thought. We see an inverse head and shoulder. And an inverse head and shoulder, always keep in mind, is a positive formation. But what is the important thing? It must break above this neckline. And of course, the right shoulder mustn't fall all the way back to close this gap and then maybe test a new low. We need to see the stock above this neckline. And that's the crucial thing. The only thing that I don't like, the moment it crosses this line and you want to take a stop loss, look at your big stop loss. From about, let's say, 2,950, your stop loss is almost 2,500, and that's a 300-400 stop loss. So I would rather take a smaller stop loss, but unfortunately at this point in time, we first need to see some other candles developing, and then later on maybe we can give you guys a tighter stop loss to look at. But at the moment, let's hope Naspers plays out, because remember, it will trigger two things. First of all, it will give us a beautiful rally in Naspers, so a lot of guys can say, thank you so much, Naspers, I made a bit of money. And the other thing is, it will also help the index, and the index is under severe pressure. Okay, well, let's have a look at another stock. We had a nice request from somebody on Twitter saying, can we maybe have a look at Impala Platinum? I called Impala Platinum many months ago on the show. It was around 19 Rand, I think, or 1860. I cannot even recall that, but it gave us a beautiful rally. And some guys said, well, it's just going to be a, you can almost say, a relief rally in a downtrend. But this chart is telling me something else. This chart, remember, is a weekly chart, and I'm looking at a line chart here. Now, this chart is telling me the following. It's telling me it went down, it bounced, it came back. But what happened? Can you see this 40-week moving average that I've got in here? It came back to test it for me, and I just want to zoom it out. That I will call a beautiful, positive, technical goodbye kiss. I like that. That is positive. And first of all, look what happened. We had this beautiful lamp pole formation. It gave us the pullback. And where did it stop? Right at the 40-week moving average. That is, in actual fact, extremely positive. And what I like about the stock, that is my resistance line, and that just turned into a support line. And what happens again? It rallies up a little bit, it gives you a buying signal, and it comes back and it tests that line and it moves higher. What I see here is people are keen to buy Impala Platinum on pullbacks. Now, what we've seen in the past, and you can see it here, it bounced above the 40-week, but then it goes below that, and the 40-week remains as a resistance. At the moment, that's something different. It is above the 40-week moving average. It gives us some nice goodbye kisses. And if you can recall, look, this market is struggling. But Impala Platinum is not struggling. That is positive. So I will say, if you're a long-term to a medium investor and you maybe want to start looking at Impala Platinum, that was maybe the point early when we called it on the show just to nibble. But I think now the stock is starting to show that there's some serious business here and the stock wants to go higher. Let's maybe just see where the stock is coming from. And that will tell you then that this stock has plenty of room to go up. And what I like about this counter, and I've said it before on previous shows, I believe that we're going to head into a bear market. And we are in a bear market. In actual fact, I said that I think we'll head into a bear market in September. And I was 4 weeks out. But what I did say is that some of the South African stocks, the mid caps, the small cap stocks, have been hammered for years. And in this bear market that everybody will hate, we will see that some of these stocks, and Impala, I think, is maybe one of those stocks that's starting to tell us, and I said, some of these stocks will surprise us and will go higher within this bear market. And these stocks, when the bear market is finished, we never know when it's going to finish and play out. When the bear market is finished, we'll find that these stocks will become the winners of the next few years. And that's important. We need, if you are a medium to a long-term investor, you need to find some mid-cap or small-cap stocks now that moves against the trend, that's keen to go up in a difficult market because everything is against them. Investment sentiment is negative. Nobody wants to buy shares. This is the kind of stock that you must look up for the future, because Impala is telling me it wants to turn around. So for that Twitter reader, listen, I think it's time to buy. If you haven't got the stock, it's maybe time to buy and use this 40-week moving average as your stop loss. It's a little bit of a big stop loss, but I mean the scope to the top is massive. I will use 23 Rand 2 cents as my stop loss. If you want a tighter one, I can give you one. There's one, 24 Rand 90 cents. But I like Impala because look at your targets. I mean 33 Rand 34, 35 Rand 10 cents, 41 Rand 49, and even 46 Rand 12 cents. And by the way, what is the stock telling us? It's telling us that there is some demand coming back for platinum. And the other thing, this stock maybe wants to tell us that we are expecting a weaker rand in time to come. So I don't like that, but I like the chart. The chart tells me we're looking at a turnaround story here.